All right, ladies and gentlemen, joining me now, she is a model based out of San Diego, California. Julia Baker, how are you doing this evening?
I'm doing so good. So happy to be on the show. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, well, I spoke to Brian from Frayed Needle. Oh man, it must have been, I don't know. I don't want to, get my time wrong, but it has to be at least a year ago. And I was like, and he talked to me. I believe he mentioned you on the podcast, and and I was like, I was wanting to talk to a model, so I was like, he reached out, and I appreciated him for that. I sent him a message. I said thanks, and I appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, of course. When Brian messaged me, I was like, oh, that's awesome. I think I listened to his episode. It was definitely a while ago. I haven't seen Brian since I was on the East Coast. So it was like 2 years since I've seen him, but he's amazing. He's been supporting me from a distance, and I've been doing the same. Like his designs are awesome. I walk around with them here all the time, and people
Yeah,
are like, who made that? And I'm like, listen, let me get you the link. Like, this guy is
yeah,
awesome.
yeah. Well, you could probably tell me then when that episode was.
Yeah, it was probably like it wasn't too long. It
It was
probably
like
was
a year. It
a
was
year
like
ago.
a yeah.
Yeah.
I would assume. I would assume. Quick trivia question. So talk to me about how you got started in the modeling industry, if you don't mind.
Yeah, of course. So it was I've always been like tall for my age, so people like always commented like to me and like to my mom like about how I should be a model.
Mm,
And like I'm the type of person that I do like that. I like to play dress up, I like to get my makeup done, travel. So
mm.
I was like, wow, that seems pretty cool. So I probably got into it when I was about like 15. And it's always been kind of like on and off for me, but it's like my fun job that I get to do.
Mm.
And it's kind of was just like so many people like would comment and just be like, "Oh, you should be a model." And like sometimes I look back on it and I'm like, "Oh, maybe they just said that because I was tall," but then it ended up kind of working out.
So talk to me about your first shoot. What was that like? Were you nervous?
Yeah, my first shoot was actually it was really awesome because it was everything. It had the whole production. Like I had the makeup artist, the photographer. He was kind of like local, so people knew him. And
Yeah, talk about how you got your foot in the door. Like, so what was the backstory behind this shoot?
so this was like it was literally just like a senior modeling shoot. Like, you know what they say, like it was for like high school. Uh
We're talking
yeah,
about like back in the day. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
that was like my real like well, I was young for my like grade, so I was 15 when I was a junior. So that was
Wow.
like my first yeah, that was
No
my
shit.
first real like professional like images, and that was
Hmm.
like once I kind of did it that like test shoot, that was when I started like getting invited to other events and like working with other people, and then it just kind of kept it was definitely very like small time in the beginning. I'm from like a small town, so there
Hmm.
wasn't a ton going on,
Yeah,
but
where are you from?
I'm from the area is called Springfield in Massachusetts, so
Okay.
it's like not by Boston at all. It's like 2 hours away.
Is that like a stereotype though? People think it's like by Boston.
Everybody thinks like if you're from Massachusetts that you're just from Boston. Like that's just
with
the automatic.
the well, I don't hear the accent very well. You don't.
Exactly, because I'm not from that side of the state. Kind of the people that have the accent, I always tell people they're from.
Brian, oh my, that accent was like, I love it. I couldn't get
Yeah,
enough.
yep. They're from Boston. They're from Providence too. They have the same accent there. That's like a kind of a fun fact that East Coast or non-East Coasters
Yeah.
don't
Well,
know about.
I'm a Florida boy, so
Oh,
you know.
that's cool. So where are you from in Florida?
Well, originally I'm from a small town as well, Titusville, which is where NASA is, like the space
Oh
shuttle.
my God, wait, no way, because my grandfather worked for NASA.
My dad worked for NASA for 30 years. So,
No way.
yeah.
And my mom like lived in Florida when he works for NASA for a little
I
while. I wonder
assume
if there's
Titusville or Cocoa or one of the or Cocoa Beach, Merritt
probably,
Island.
yeah, I don't even know. Like
Yeah,
I
probably one of them. It's a small
yeah,
world.
that's so cool.
Yeah, so I grew up in they call it the Space Coast. They gotta be corny, but they call it the Space Coast for obvious reasons. And
Yeah.
I grew up over there, and it was, another small town vibe, beach vibe.
Yeah.
Florida, rainy, rains 1 second, doesn't rain the second, the second.
Yeah.
And it's
So
like,
where are you at now?
I'm in Pensacola, right by. So it's a long story. This isn't about me, Julia.
No,
This is about
no,
you.
but I'm just
I don't want to.
curious.
I don't want to bore the audience. They've already heard my story 100
Oh,
times.
okay, okay.
This is like episode 200 and something. They're
Oh my
like,
God.
they're like, Sean, we've heard this. We've heard your story. Let's talk
They're
about. Let's talk to the
they're
model.
sick
Like,
of it. Okay.
no, yeah. So it's no. I'm just kidding. But no, yeah. I'm just a Florida boy, and then I went to school at like UCF, which is like the big school, 45 minutes east, which is Orlando, like Disney. And
Okay.
then I
I've
bounced,
been
and
there.
then I bounced around, and now I'm here. So yeah, and then I forgot how I linked up with Frayed Needle. It was like a agency I was talking to,
Mhm.
and I forgot what agency. I don't know. They were like,
Was it the Dead Horse
yeah, yeah,
branding?
yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah.
I talked to them, and they hooked me up, Julia.
That's awesome. Yeah. No, I know. So Brian,
It's a win-win. They get publicity for their, you know, act
yeah,
or artist or whoever, and then I get an episode. So,
awesome. Yeah.
so that's how I linked up with him, and it was like weird at first. It was like, you want me, because I went from like musicians and like saying, hey, I got this artist, and then it's like, hey, this guy from Frayed Needle, huh? I
Well,
had to
he
look.
does like design the clothes for
Yeah, like
artists,
it's
which is
like,
super
I
cool.
didn't mean no disrespect. It's just, I'm from Florida. I haven't, but
Yeah,
when I dove into what, he does over there, I'm like, oh, that's cool. And me and him hit it off. Like, it was
yeah,
weird
he's really
because
awesome.
that Florida, New York has like a weird like stereotype where they don't get along. Like, some people think like Floridians and New Yorkers are like opposites, but
Mhm.
most of them are from like the Bronx anyways, and they come down. So,
Yeah, I was gonna say, I always kind of call Florida like the north of
you
the
think
South.
so? Yeah.
Yeah, because there's so
I think
many
it
like,
depends though. It depends. It depends what
well, it
part.
can be like really, like the Florida man like memes,
Well, rednecks and
Yeah. I went
that's
to the
what I was a
Keys,
redneck
like
town. I'm from a redneck town, so
really? Okay. Yeah, I went to Key West and I was like shocked. I was like, oh my God, I was like,
yeah,
this is not New England anymore.
Titusville, Space Coast is all rednecks, Julia. No, well, not all, but I would say 80-20 ATVs, all that.
But you know what? They're everywhere, even where you wouldn't think, because they're in Massachusetts too.
Are they?
They
Like,
are. They are. You don't
really?
consider it, but they're there.
Yeah. Well, if I said what beer was in here, I'm sure that they would know the type of beer, you know.
Bet they would.
So you did this shoot, okay? So what was your, like, did it meet your expectations? Were you underwhelmed, overwhelmed? Like, talk about like
Um,
the story from there.
Yeah, so I really liked it because I kind of ended up getting connected with some people that were just gonna like help me out in the future. And like we took some awesome pictures. Like to this day, they're some of my favorites. Like, I just loved the way that the makeup artist like did my hair and makeup. And I think like when you're shooting, it really shows. Like if you're having a good time, I feel like the images like just generally come out better, like when you're really like into it and you want to be there. So we did a couple shoots and like I felt like they definitely like it was my first introduction to really like a studio and like um kind of doing all the stuff that people were saying, "Oh, you
Hmm.
should do this." And I was just
Yeah.
like, "Oh, cool. Like I think I actually do want to do this." And like that was really where it all started. So
Did,
it wasn't like a crazy shoot, but
did you get any warnings, Julia? People were like, think about this before you start it because it can get fast times.
yeah, there's kind of like definitely you get like different opinions from different people. And like, I mean, I think one of the biggest things is the area I was in was like did not have reputable agencies. Um,
Oh,
I've never actually,
like the shady side of the business.
yeah, like I went to a couple because like I don't even know what happened. I went to like a casting event and they called me to this
Oh,
agency, and it was like for like multiple. I've been to a couple like
was
kind
it
of
was
like
it like a creep? Was it like a creepy like
they're not
vibe?
creepy. I've never been to an agency that's creepy. Like I think that I know enough for that, but I've been to just agencies that are scammy. Um,
Oh,
like you
well, there's
go
a
in there.
difference. There's a difference. There's a difference.
And there's like
Creepy is just weird people. Scammy is
I've
trying to get
dealt with
your.
creepy photographers.
I mean, that's pretty much a given, though, right? I mean, you're gonna get some because it's like they get a
Yeah.
little ego. It's like, oh, I'm, taking photos of, such and such person, and then they want clout, and I'm not saying
Yeah.
I don't want to like all the photographers in my, comments saying, "Oh, you blasted us." I'm not stereotyping everyone in one brush.
Absolutely.
We're just being realistic right now.
Well, and there's this thing they like everybody knows about it. They describe it as guy with a camera because there's a difference between a photographer and a guy
Right.
with a camera. And there's a lot of like guys with cameras out there that are going to reach
Yeah.
out to you when you're a model.
Mm,
And there's a lot of, girls that pose for pictures too,
right, right, right. And Instagram has only expedited that, Instagram models. But so would you say that for every like below average photographer, there's like 20 great ones? Like
There's
you get.
probably like okay, I don't mean to roast the photographers on your show, but there's probably 20 below average
No, no,
photographers.
no. I don't have any
One
photographers
great
on my
one.
show. I'm talking about the people listening to this when I put model in the
Hmm.
episode description.
Yeah.
I'm talking about those people.
But the thing is, you really can't like anybody can buy a camera. So there's a lot of bad photographers out there, and but there's just like and I think in everything, like the majority of people are like not that great at it. And then there's a couple people that are like
There's an
really
art to it. Like people just think, oh, I can use, OBS or Canva or whatever, and you know what I mean, like editing software. Eh,
yeah, and then there's also, I mean, there's a lot of like you could just send your images to like Fiverr and have somebody else edit them. So,
power of money.
yeah, you don't need to like know how to edit. I mean, but some photographers that are really good do that because they
They
don't have
take it
time.
as like an
Yeah.
art. It's like an art to
I mean,
them.
they probably don't send it to Fiverr. They probably have a personal like editor, but
Personal assistant.
yeah, it's not
I
crazy
mean,
to like have the photographer not edit the photo, but
so I assume you've done from everywhere from like an agency with like one person to an agency with like 50 people.
yeah, so I've never signed with the agency.
No,
Like,
I know. I'm talking
yeah.
about, okay, agency is the wrong word. I meant production, like a company that puts on the shoot. You know what I'm trying to say? Like a
Yeah,
small
I know what you're talking
production
about.
from a
Yeah.
large production, right? You've done it
Yeah,
all different.
100%. Yeah, I've been on all sorts of different jobs. I've been on this scary website called Model Mayhem, which is like full of, guys
I
with
was gonna
cameras.
ask you about that. You read my mind.
Huh? Uh-huh. I knew I
You
was like,
you
this is
probably you
a
probably
good
assumed
story.
I was gonna ask about that, didn't you?
Hmm.
You probably like, yeah, he's probably going to ask me about that shit.
Well, I didn't know because some people don't know about it, but it's like once you get into the world, people are like, "Hey, you should check this out." But
Mm.
you gotta be careful
I mean,
because
I,
man, scary.
you put in any sort of model in Google and it comes up,
Mm-hmm.
you
Mm-hmm.
know.
Yeah. And I mean, it's not a bad thing. Like, not
So
everybody
what
on
kind of
there.
website is it? So go over what that for people that don't know what Model Mayhem is. Can you talk about what it is?
Yeah. So, I mean, even I'm not the most familiar with it because I've kind of stepped away from it once I realized what it was, but it definitely has been around for a while. You can just tell by the interface of the website.
So is it
Um,
a database? Like what is
Pretty
it?
much. So yeah,
Like
you just sign up. It's almost like a social media, but it's where you can connect with like models, photographers, makeup artists, special effects, everybody. Um, and anybody can sign up for it. It's not exclusive to anybody. You can just be on there. And basically you put together a profile and you give your statistics and then like you say like
that's
you know
weird. You put your own
yeah.
ASL basically like it was back in the day. Like
Mhm. You put your
mm,
own photos and then like you put your
weird.
location. I mean, it just says your city, like you don't put like your house,
No,
but
but you put like your zip code. Yeah, I got it. Or you can put your zip code, or you can just put your. It depends on like a lot of optional boxes, I would assume, right?
yeah, and it's like you can check off, you get boxes that you can check off, like what kind of shoots do you do? And there's like
But
everything.
it's all optional.
It's
You
like
don't
there's
have to
like
type.
fetish on there, like
Oh shit!
yeah, yeah,
People
yeah.
listening to this like just perked up when they heard the word fetish. They're like,
They were
"Oh, Sean's
like,
rambling
did you check
again."
off that box?
Fetish. Oh.
No, I didn't check that box off, guys. I'm
No,
sorry to tell you, I've never
I'm
done
gonna
that.
YouTube now has YouTube Studio, and it has basically, not trying to bore you with data, Julia, but YouTube's even getting into the statistics database where they can actually monitor what part of the episode gets the most traction.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
did you know
Okay. Yeah,
that?
I've been noticing that on like YouTube. You can kind of fast forward
So
like the peak point in the video. Like
yeah, I'll be curious and see if it spikes at fetish. We'll see. But
that's
that wouldn't
hilarious.
surprise that wouldn't surprise me. So
Yeah.
we talked about how you started. What's the biggest like production? Like what's your most famous one? You know what I mean? Like the
Yeah, yeah, of course. So this is
biggest deal you've done.
the most random thing ever. I didn't even know was gonna happen. During the pandemic, I was kind of like bored. So me and my pal Max, his tag is it's Max underscore Evans underscore
Cheap
photo.
plug. Cheap
I
plug.
got
I
it.
love
I'm
it.
I'm plugging Max in here because Max is
I
awesome.
love it. I love it.
But
I
I
love
want
it.
to give him
I would
credit
do the
for
same
this.
thing. I would do the same thing. No shame.
Yeah, I want to give him credit for this because we really like put it together, like the two of us, and it was just random. But like he was doing a lot of wedding photography at the time, and I
Mhm.
was doing a lot of bridal modeling because of the area I was in. Like in Massachusetts, a lot of my work was for like bridal stuff because it's not really like a model city.
Mm.
So we were just like perfect. We'll put this on for both of our portfolios. We'll like meet all these people, connect with people. So we do this bridal shoot. It was like we had a suit designer, a designer, a dress company. We had florals, makeup, hair, a male model, me, Max
Wow.
was shooting. It was everybody, and we did it. We got like permission from the city of Boston to do it like over by the seaport. They tried to
No
kick us
shit.
out, and I was like, I have an email. I was like,
Oh,
I'm allowed to be
email.
here. Yeah, so I mean, I planned this out to a
Bada
T.
bing. I got it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So we were like, no, get the hell out of here because
And what
we had
they what
it.
when you showed the email, they were like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah, they pretty much just were like, okay, that's fine. I think they felt bad because I think they thought it was like a real wedding at first, like just trying to take their bridal pictures. But I
Oh.
mean, to wrap up the story, one day my designer, she did custom jackets for us, and she just was like, "Oh, hey, like the shoot's gonna be in British Vogue," and we were like, "What?" Like I was like, I looked at the email, I was like, "Is this sort of like a scam?"
Is
Like
this like is this
I was like, the
are we
shoot
getting like catfish right now? Like
that the shoot that I put together is like I was like 19. I was like, okay, that's super cool. So I mean, it was a
fresh
super
out of
small.
high school, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, it was
I
like
got
really
it.
small. It was in the back, but it was like I can at least be like, oh yeah, I was in Vogue. Um, and it wasn't like a photo Vogue. It was actually like because photo Vogue is pretty easy to get into at
Mhm.
this point, but like print Vogue is like I guess a little
Mhm.
better. I mean, I can't like say I made it big time or anything,
But
but
I
it
mean,
was cool.
let's be honest, Julia. How many people you think in the United States can say they've been in Vogue? Okay, it
Yeah,
doesn't matter where.
it's
That the second word in that. You know what I mean? So
yeah, that's
I that's clout right there. You know, use it.
yeah.
Use the name. Why not?
Hmm. And
So
yeah, I mean, there's a couple that I did. I was on 17 magazines. I was in their like YouTube channel. I was casted for that.
oh
And then
okay.
I've been like reposted on Instagram on like one of the Playboy variations, like
What?
a couple times. So those are like my big like,
Oh.
oh, okay. It's gonna maybe okay, never mind the fetish part. It's gonna spike here. It's like Playboy.
Yeah. That's awesome. So what have you been doing lately? You've been keeping busy post, I guess, still the pandemic, but I mean, like, what have you been doing lately?
Yeah, so since I came to San Diego, like at first I ended up actually taking a break and people were like confused because they were like, "Didn't you like go out to California to model?" And I was like, "Not really. Like
Yeah,
I
but
kind of just came here." But
yeah, but did you also model in New York though?
yeah, in Boston, East
That's
Coast.
what I thought. I thought when I went on your website, I thought I saw New York, but
Yeah. Yeah, I've kind of been around. I mean, like East Coast, West Coast, pretty much. But I didn't move to LA. I moved to San Diego. So I kind of came to San Diego and was like, I'm gonna just chill. Like I still did want to like model and but I ended up getting this job at a restaurant and like I can't say too much about that job
like a
legally
shirt.
because I don't work
Oh,
there anymore. But
confidentiality agreements,
yeah.
liability concerns, all the
Yeah.
buzzwords. Yeah,
I mean, as much as that would be an excellent story, I'm
you're
only allowed to
giving
say,
you're giving this podcast too much credit.
yeah,
Okay, I don't think that no one's gonna, not you, but I'm talking about like dive into like my podcast. They're gonna be like, well, it's just some random podcast. We don't care.
yeah.
But
But
I understand. I understand.
I'm only allowed to say positive things about
Mm,
that restaurant.
you're
Like I signed a paper that says I will only speak
no, I
positively
know, I know.
about it.
I'm just fucking around.
But I mean, I think that says enough. I don't have to say anything else. I had to sign a paper that I'm only gonna be positive. But it was very like life consuming. Like at first
Mm,
I was like, oh, this is gonna be awesome. It's like a beach cafe, and like this will be the best way for me to get time off because it's just like a little restaurant job. And like everybody else that I knew at restaurants kind of like
yeah.
did whatever. It didn't turn into that for me. It like turned into like this like soul sucking, like life consuming. Actually, no, I mean it was a wonderful place. I loved it so much. But
Yeah, let's move on
yeah,
before we get to more
but like I
thing.
did not do any modeling really for like the time I was working there. And then like I left and like now I'm like I
Hold
have
on,
like 3-4 shoots a
hold
week.
on. I'm gonna refill my beer for this next.
Yeah, for sure.
I can't show the type of beer because obviously for I
Yeah.
don't want to piss off YouTube.
That's true. No advertising here.
Well, I can say Anheuser-Busch. I don't want to get them in trouble.
Okay.
But so you kind of set me up for my next question. Um, what's the I know this is gonna be like you're gonna be like, whoa, but what's the difference between East Coast East Coast shoots and then like the West Coast? Like,
Um,
is there a difference, or is it all is a photo shoot a photo shoot? You know?
I would say like East Coast is a little bit more like exclusive if you're doing something like of like a higher caliber. Like a lot of like models in New York are like really tall and really thin. They're kind of more they describe them as agency standard, whereas in California it seems to be like a little bit more. I mean, and it could also be because I was there 2 years ago and like things are changing, but I really do think that LA
Well,
always had like more like curvier models and like just kind of like people that are shorter. Like there's more opportunities and it's not as exclusive as New York.
yeah, and it's a bigger market. You were in a bigger market. I guess
Um,
both are pretty huge markets, but
I think LA is better, but it could just be because of like who I because I'm 5'8". I'm tall, but I'm
mhm,
not that tall. Like they
mhm.
wouldn't put me on a runway.
Well, you're
And
taller than me to make make you feel better.
yeah,
I
I mean,
that's funny. So quick diversion. I'm I'm 5'6", okay? And
okay.
I got a funny story. If you don't mind me telling a story on my own podcast.
Oh, of
I'm
course.
not trying to supersede you or anything, but the height thing made me think of this story. Um, I've told it before, but it's been a while. It's my podcast. I can do what I want. So
Mm-hmm.
so anyways, I'm like this short guy, right? And I'm a little old, so I remember. Do you remember MySpace? Okay, so I was on MySpace, and back in MySpace, people were a little more like crazy as far as like no filter. Like that's when they, ASL and
Mm,
everything. But like people would like even Photoshop pictures back then. Like most people think, oh, it's only like with Instagram filters and stuff. No, people were like brushing photos back in the day. So,
yeah.
anyways, long story short, this girl's like 5'9", and I told her, I said, when we dated, I'm like, you sure you want to date someone like 4 inches shorter? She was like, yeah, I don't see why not. And I was like, if you wear heels to this dinner date, I will break up with you because you're already like 4 inches taller. Let's not make it half a, half a foot. So she didn't wear the heels.
Okay.
That's my but like I get it though. You know what I mean? Like and I wasn't like, I'm being in tongue in cheek, you know. But you know what I'm saying? Like people make a big deal about height. I don't see it that big of a deal. Either you can model or you can't. Either,
Yeah,
you can be a good person in a relationship or you can't.
it's
Like that.
so true.
What's your thoughts on this whole height thing? Like, do you think it's overrated? Like people make too big of a deal about it?
Yeah, I definitely think so. I mean, it's not a huge deal when you're doing like commercial work or print work because you can't really tell somebody's height. So, I mean, that's kind of the work that's paying better anyway. The height really comes down to the runway. And
That's a good point.
I can see why everybody wants to be like around the same height on the runway, but I don't understand why they have to be like so tall. You know, I obviously don't like I don't put on fashion shows. Like some shows do they just kind of put whoever out there. And I do think maybe it looks a little inconsistent when their height is like up down
That's a good
up down.
point. Logistical issues
Yeah.
can happen. I
Yeah.
I understand that. Like,
But I don't really know the whole meaning behind being super tall. I mean, I do think that like the modeling industry was like the 90s supermodels
well,
were
like,
those like super skinny like cocaine
mhm,
models. Like the taller you are, the more likely you are to be like super like skinny and like lanky. So maybe that
yeah,
has to do with it too.
yeah. Like either you're good or you're not at the same time.
Yeah. I mean, there's
Like in
some
life.
people like
No,
the
but what I'm saying
fitness
is it should be
models.
it should be quality. Like, you
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yep.
But like everyone, that's the like no one's perfect, all shapes and sizes. You know what I mean? So I appreciate, and I think nowadays I've heard from people that it's kind of nicer that people aren't as strict about like, not saying there's not like, body shaming will never ever ever go, unfortunately, but I've heard that in recent times it's not as common. Would you agree? Like people are more
Yeah.
accepting than it used to be you're either
I would
this or you're
say
not.
so.
Now people are more. Would you agree?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, I don't think everybody in the industry agrees. I know there's definitely like, closeted haters and like it kind of
There's
stays
always going to be
in a way,
that.
but like most of like the people I know just do not care. Like most of the people are like, when I'm with models on a more inclusive shoot, it actually like kind of makes me feel like more like happy that I decided to shoot with that brand. Cause, I don't think it's fair to only show clothes. Um, like if you're gonna sell the clothes in different sizes, why would you only show it on one size person?
I mean, you
Really
make a
makes
good
sense.
point.
Yeah.
You
Like
make a
how are
good.
you gonna see how it looks?
Yeah, you do make a good point. So, besides modeling, I know you do other stuff. What else are you into?
Um, I love like rap music. Like I love gangster
Really?
rap, like
I
old
I have
school.
I don't know. I have a lot of musicians on my podcast.
That's
Like
so
it's
awesome.
probably like it's probably like 8 out of 10 episodes are musicians. Obviously Dead Horse, and I have a couple other, but some of them are just like connections I have, but a lot of them are like independent artists.
Oh,
So I
that's super
so
cool.
that's I try to give platforms to independent artists. Like I have a couple friends that have like a couple people. That's the thing about podcasts, Julie, is I make a lot of friends. Like I didn't think I would. Like I've been doing this for like five years. Not just me. I had a co-host back in the day, but that's a different story. But anyways, you meet people just like that in modeling too. Like you'll meet people that you probably never, obviously you would never meet them without modeling, but at the same time, there's people that you're like, no way I'm going to connect with this person. And then you do, right?
Yeah, 100%. I think that's one of my favorite things about modeling. I think that's like my personality. I'm very like extroverted. So I think that's why I like
Yeah.
continued with it because it was like, oh, like there's gonna be
Sorry, I'm
new
pouring
people.
I'm
I
pouring
know,
beer.
good. I was like, there's gonna
I'm
be
getting
new
drunk.
people on set every time. Like a new makeup artist, and they're always like, I always make like a best friend, you know, like
Yeah. Yeah, I think I'm extroverted now. Like, do you think I'm wrong? Like, can people change from like introverted to extroverted, or do you think you are what you are?
I think you can change. I think sometimes it depends on like what point you're at in your life.
Yeah, that's a that's a good answer. I was like introverted in high school, but that's just because I got picked on and bullied.
Hmm.
And then like when I stopped getting bullied, then I let my personality actually shine. And like I
Yeah.
still like it's not like I was ashamed, but like, you just try to get through the like 4 years of it really was my like my freshman and sophomore year, I was bullied. And then like junior year I became semi popular. And then and then my senior year I was just like, there's like the preppies and then there's like the nerds. And
Yeah.
then there's the people that no one talks about. They're just
Yeah.
there. I was just there.
I think I was the same thing. I mean,
I
like
was just like there. Like I wasn't like I wasn't the first invite to the party, but I wasn't like not invited. It just took a while for me
yeah.
to get the invite.
Yeah.
I was just like the forwarded text message person. Like, oh yeah. But like 30 minutes before the party, hey, you want to stop by? And I'm like, you had like a week to tell me. Like like
It
I
was
was
same to
that
me,
person.
like, and then I think people stopped inviting me because I never went because like I never like I don't know, I didn't want to explain what I was doing to my parents. So I would just be like, yeah, I'm not
Oh
coming.
yeah. I was
Yeah, it was
21. I
like,
was 21. There was
yeah.
no there was no legal issues. I didn't,
Oh, okay.
I know I for liability issues.
Yeah, yeah,
Liability
yeah.
issues. We do not promote underage drinking here on the Sensibly.
Absolutely not. Do not, if you are in high school,
if
go to the bowling
and
alley.
stop the vaping. Vaping's so bad for you. Stop the
Yeah,
vaping. That vaping shit needs to go away. For real. Real talk.
I know.
'Cause
It is
I've done some research on that. Like vaping's not good. I mean,
and
smoking in general is not good, but vaping's like really bad for you. Like really, really bad for you.
it's so addictive. I've seen so many of my friends chase their vapes, like, where is it? They're like real
It's
life,
sad
like
too. Like, and
crackheads.
then that was right after like the Four Loco thing started going through high schools and stuff, and that was really bad. And it's like if it's like not one thing, it's another. But I guess that unfortunately that's you know part of life. I guess not
100%. And
everything's roses. I guess so. Anyways, is that okay if we take a break, Julia? Because we're
yeah,
okay. So I'm gonna play an ad. I'm gonna
okay,
s- and we'll be right back. I'll send you the new link.
okay.
And we'll be right back with the ending of my interview with Julia Baker right after this. Hey, what's up, everybody? I hope you are enjoying this interview with Julia Baker. But before we get back to that interview, please check out bonfire.com. There you'll find Sensibly Cynical merch, mug, all different cool shirts. The shirt I'm even wearing in this interview on YouTube. You can get variety of different sizes, so make sure you check that out. Bonfire.com/store/ Sensibly Cynical. Also, YouTube. We're doing a lot of interviews, including this one. So please subscribe. YouTube.com/at Sensibly Cynical. Now back to my chat with Julia Baker. And we are back. Julia, thank you for doing this again before we continue. I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so we talked about, you gave me a couple stories. What's the funniest story you got? I know you have I know you have a funny one.
Oh my God. There's probably a lot of like funny stories, I guess.
You
Um,
can just go wherever you
we
want to
try
go with it, you know?
think about it. Yeah, I think I'm trying to like think of what actually happened because I'm thinking of like a scenario, but I'm like remembering the details. I was working with one of my favorite photographers from back home. We kind of like became friends and we did tests together all the time. And I
Mm,
ended up like befriending his family and like I just ended up hanging out with them all the time. So every
right,
time we
right,
like it was like a bunch of banter. And I remember one time we were shooting and his daughter was like so mad at him. There was no bathroom and she was gonna like pee her pants. And I don't
right.
really remember the whole story. I don't know if she had to go pee in a bush or something, but it was just like
Mm,
it was one of those situations where we were just like laughing the whole time. Like we were not even taking that shoot serious at that point because it was just such a like awesome
mm.
group of people. But then there's another story, like I don't know if it's funny, like I don't or if it's just like a coping mechanism for me to
The
laugh at it.
good old coping
But
mechanisms.
like this is the other like instance I thought of. It was actually from Model Mayhem. It was probably like one of the only shoots I ever booked from Model Mayhem. And I was just like, this
Do
guy,
tell,
like,
do tell.
yeah, he was like not a good photographer, but he was like about to like he was in my city and wanted to do a shoot that was like 5 minutes from my house. I was gonna get like $50 an hour. So I was like, yeah, like sure, I don't care if he doesn't like really take good pictures. Like I just want to get money. Like
You're just looking
usually
at
when you get paid, you don't even get the
looking at
pictures back.
the you be looking at the
Yeah,
clock like
it was like super easy. It was gonna be like 1 hour and I was just gonna like get $50. I didn't
you
really
be
have to
looking
do
at the
anything.
second hand, not the first hand, the second hand, just like
Literally. And anyway, like I went and the area was kind of like an industrial area. It was like a lot of people shoot there, but it's kind of like out of the way. So it's like I wasn't really thinking anything of it because it was so close to my house. I was just like, oh, whatever. Like I told like, people that I was going there. And I ended up shooting with the guy, and like I could tell right away, I was like, oh my God, he does not know what he's doing. Like he was epitome of a guy with a camera. Like he had this Canon camera, and like sometimes it was flashing and sometimes it was not flashing. And I was like, okay, so he literally has the settings on auto. Like
mm.
he's not even like he doesn't even know how to like, change the settings on the camera. Like that's really bad. Um and
Like
he
you
was
should
kind of crazy.
you should ask him like, okay, is this your first shoot, bro? Like
Literally, I don't he was kind of crazy though. Like he's telling me about how he used to be a security guard and he was like kind of this big dude. And
that's
I was
when you know that
oh no, like
they're just soft. Like
but I was like, I also don't want to like mess with this guy. He could snatch me up
true.
real
And the
quick.
money,
Like,
you gotta think
yeah,
about the money
so
and
yeah, I'm like, all right, I have a black belt, but like it's really
really?
nothing. Yes. So I was like, I
Oh
have
shit,
like
I better be a good
max of
host then.
$1.
You're gonna karate chop me through the Zoom call. Shit.
Yeah, so I'm like thinking of my like takedown tactics and like how to get out of stuff. But basically he's like, okay, I have some props. And so we go to his car and like he opens the trunk and there's guns in his trunk. And I was like,
Whoa.
oh my God, I'm gonna get killed. I literally was so scared. I was like, I'm getting killed over $50. I was like, this is like greedy bastard. Like, you're gonna die over $50. Like,
Yeah.
are you are you
Well,
kidding me?
let's move on to a subject you briefly talked about before I went on one of my famous tangents, rap music. Again, I'm gonna put you to the ringer here. Who's your top five? Like
Oh wow,
playlist, like you know what I
that's
mean?
tough.
Like
I mean, so this is bad in today's climate, but my number one is Kanye West.
Yay. No, no, no. He goes by Yay now. He goes by
Yeah,
Yay.
yeah, 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 yeah.
He, go, he goes by Yay.
Yeah, but I
I
mean, well then
okay, okay. No, no, no. Listen, listen. I'm talking about I'm not talking about politically. I'm not talking about You know what I mean? Other stuff he's got going. I'm talking about strictly music. That's the thing about society nowadays. Like I'm a sports guy, so like same thing with like sports. Like people like hate on LeBron. I mean, you've heard of LeBron. Everyone has, so I don't need to. But like LeBron James,
Yeah.
and it's like the guy does. Sorry to go off on a tangent. I do that sometimes. But anyways, it's like people talk about this stuff outside of what they do. It's like, no, you're talking about, you're not condoning. I don't know what side. We're not going to go down that road. If, whatever. I don't really want to, but you're talking about like strictly music, right?
Yeah, 100%. I was actually in Spotify. You know how it like notifies you at the end of the year? I was in the top 0.5% of Kanye's listeners last year. So,
Yeah.
I feel like I deserve something for that.
So it's like, okay, so we got Ye. That's what he's going by. I don't know.
We got
Uh,
Ye.
all right, who else?
I'm gonna have to put Biggie on that list.
Biggie
Probably
Smalls?
number 2. Yeah, Biggie's like so iconic, like New York rapper. I obviously
No,
love.
everyone, you don't need to specify. Everyone.
No,
Okay,
I know, but I'm
shame,
just like
shame.
I
If
love
no,
Big.
no, no. Shame. If you are listening to this I'm gonna say right now, if you are listening to this podcast, especially me, because I interview a shitload of musicians that have talked about Biggie Smalls, probably more than once. If you are listening and you have not heard of Biggie Smalls, shame on you. YouTube.
Yeah.
Who else? You got 2. So,
All right, we got
and I'm
Biggie.
being facetious. Don't turn it off, people. Don't turn it off. All right.
We're gonna put Kendrick on there.
Kendrick Lamar. Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't even
Kendrick
need to say that either. Who am I?
got. Yeah,
What
no,
am I
why are we
doing? What am I doing?
specifying?
I'm Pot Kettle. Yeah. All right. So go ahead.
J. Cole.
All right. Yeah.
And
No,
wait,
I hear
what am
that.
I at now? I'm at
4.
4, so I have one left.
I'm waiting. I think I know who it is.
Pick one more.
I'll be disappointed. Well, I won't be disappointed, but I'll be mildly surprised if it's not the person I'm thinking of.
Are you thinking it's Pac?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Like,
I was either gonna go Pac or I thought you were gonna do Slim Shady. That guy.
yeah. I grew up on a lot of Eminem, but I actually just went to a bar.
I'm not trying to shame you and try to sway your pick. Is it really Pac or you're just saying that because I said that?
No, it actually is Pac, but honestly, the other person I was thinking of is like not who you would expect it to be. I was thinking,
Drake?
no. I don't really like Drake. I mean, I like Drake, but like I'm not like a Drake fan.
Person, yeah.
Yeah, like I like a lot of his features. I like when 21 Savage. I love 21 Savage. I feel like if 21 Savage was around for longer, like I could like give him more credit because I feel like everybody I kind of picked
Yeah.
was
Well,
either like
I'm old. I'm old, Julia. So I remember
yeah.
like 50. 50's my guy.
Oh, I love 50. I've been listening to him a lot today, actually, because it's raining in San Diego. So I woke up in the morning and I put on When It Rains, It Pours.
Funny. No, I do many men. Yeah. Yeah, we start rapping on here. People are gonna
Oh,
start
listen, I can
now,
actually rap
now
really good.
the arrow on the stats are gonna go. We went from Playboy to 50.
Come on, they don't want to listen to us rapping? Are you
No,
kidding
they're
me?
like Gen Z people that listen to this shit. Like,
Hey, I'm Gen Z. Or wait, no,
Okay,
not Gen. Yeah, I'm Gen Z.
I didn't mean to shame Gen Z. Okay, I apologize. I'm not trying to
Well,
hate
I'm just
on
saying,
you.
I'm Gen Z and I'm
You're like enough
listening.
of this guy. I'm logging off of here.
Nah, I mean, I might be like a little bit of an anomaly for Gen Z though,
Yeah,
but
you do. You. I wouldn't have guessed that.
yeah. But I was between Pac and ASAP Rocky, but I just really like my New York rap.
You get my sense of humor. My sense of humor is similar to Brian's, though. Like, where's like,
Yeah.
I don't mean no harm. I'm just a podcast host, Julia.
Oh, 100.
I don't want all the Gen Z people to come for me.
No, I don't think they will. Gen Z people don't give a shit.
Yeah, that's what's awesome. Like back in the day, like the old like boomers.
Oh yeah. The boomers give a shit about everything. That's the Karen generation.
The Gen Z people are laughing like when I said that.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, I agree. But I'm a millennial. You probably guessed that.
Mm-hmm.
So like 50 Eminem. If I had to pick mine, pretty much everything you said, I would put 50 up there.
Mhm.
Just me personally, and then keep everyone else. Probably replace. I'm not trying to hate on Kendrick Lamar, but I mean, if I had to switch
I
someone.
love Kendrick. I feel like
So
Kendrick is
what's your Kendrick Lamar song? Like, can you
I
name one on the
yeah,
spot?
I can name one.
All right, all right, all
Um,
right. Try to convince me to put the song on when we log off of here. What's the
okay.
song?
I would say Count Me Out by Kendrick Lamar. It's on his latest album.
Mhm.
Um, which have you listened to his latest album at all?
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not big into Kendrick Lamar, so I'm hoping that you could persuade
Yeah.
me.
I'm gonna sell it. So my opinion on Kendrick Lamar is that Kendrick Lamar is like the Tupac of our generation. Like
Okay.
Kendrick Lamar
This is
has
good. This is good stuff.
yeah. He has the most like thoughtful and poetic lyrics. Like him and Cole, like Cole is definitely up there, but I would say that Kendrick is more like that iconic. This latest album to me,
Mhm.
I think that it's like really legendary. He discussed a lot of things in music that have just never been spoken about. And rap is huge to me because like there's so many like old white people that are just like, oh, like rap music is
Oh, yeah, but then for every old person, there's people like me, like in their mid-30s, who grew up on that shit.
yeah, no, but they describe it like it's like ignorant, like noise, and like the thing is, though, rap music is the complete opposite of that. Like, if I can think of any genre that's more thoughtful and like more thought provoking and has more to offer than rap, like, yeah,
Mhm.
there's a lot of rap songs about big booty hoes, but
And
there's also
auto tune. People just think you can throw anything together and
and like sampling. People are gonna clown on sampling, but
mix and mastering. That's what they used to call it.
yeah, but it's like you go put one together. You make a sample. Tell me about how
You're
easy
talking.
it is. You
You
go
mix
rap.
and master, brah.
Yeah, literally, literally. But I mean, Kendrick Lamar to me like has the most thought provoking music of our generation. And this last album, I really think is just historical. He brought up so many topics that it's never been brought up in rap, which rap has kind of touched base on a lot of things, like
Mhm.
whereas I don't feel like the other genres have, but it's really never been spoken about. Like there's just it's maybe not like party music, but not every song has to be. It's more
Mhm.
um thoughtful, like,
Yeah.
count me
So,
out.
what's your thoughts on Eminem?
I grew up on Eminem. Like I literally used to go to my best friend's house and her dad was always listening to Eminem. So I was listening to Eminem like way before I should have been listening to Eminem. And I do like him a lot, but I kind of like didn't listen to him too much after his like kind of original stuff. So I'm more of like an OG like Eminem fan, like the original,
Like
like
Slim Shady and like
yeah,
cleaning out my closet.
100%
That was my favorite song.
bird.
It was a weird like, look up this. Have you heard pardon me, it's the beer.
You're good.
He did a song with like D12. Forgot the name of it. But you should look that
Really
up.
country ass bar. And I'm like the least country person you can imagine. And so I was like, yo, let me like fuck up the vibe in here. And like they were doing karaoke and I picked an Eminem song and it ended up taking so long that we left, but I was literally about to rap Without Me in front of all of these like rednecks that were singing country songs and just be
Mm.
like, bitch.
It's my band. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I always rap when I do karaoke anyway. I always do super
But
bass to really throw people off.
Julia, this has been one of my favorite interviews, and I mean that with all
Oh,
sincerity. This has been awesome.
awesome. I'm so
My
glad.
expectations were high, and it was exceeded. This has been
Awesome.
awesome. Kendrick Lamar, man, you took me to school, and I appreciate that, and I
Mm.
hope I didn't offend you by the Gen Z thing or anything like that.
No, I'm
I
like
like
if
Gen
anything,
Z.
I'm not offended. Listen, I'm from
I like Disney.
Massachusetts. We say
Okay, yeah.
crazy stuff.
But you got to think about like cancel culture and Karens and Kins. And...
Yeah, I'm definitely not one of those. I'm pretty chill. I can kind of rock with anybody. And you know
Oh,
what?
you know about Kins, right? It's not just Karens now. It's Kins.
Yeah. There's that's the male
Karen's
version.
brother, Ken.
Yeah.
Ken are the guys that go to report shit, petty
Hmm.
shit. So, yeah, I don't want Kens and Karens to come for me.
No, but even if they do, their opinion really does not matter.
All right. Julia, anything else you want? Anything you want people to know what you got coming up on your schedule?
There's lots of stuff coming up on my schedule actually, all sorts of shoots. I've been like shooting like 4 or 5 times a
You've
week.
been like Kendrick Lamar of modeling. You're just like bam, bam, bam,
You know,
bam, bam.
maybe one day, but yeah,
That should be your nickname. That should be it right here on the Sensibly Cynical podcast. Julia is the Kendrick Lamar of modeling.
there we go.
There,
That would be
branding,
pretty legendary. You know
branding.
what my nickname is? Actually, it's Big Daddy.
Be like the Kendrick Lamar of modeling. What?
Yeah.
Anyways, continue on with what you got coming up, if you don't mind.
But yeah, I have a lot of just fun stuff coming up. I don't post it all on my Instagram, a lot of
Oh
it
no,
for
no, no.
branding and stuff. But I have another Instagram. It's actually my fun one. So that's where I post my life. And that's where my nickname's
Your
from. It's
life, yeah.
Big Daddy Jules with a Z on the end, like
That
J U.
reminds me. I don't know if you remember the movie Big Daddy.
No, I have to watch it.
Adam Sandler, Big Daddy.
Oh my
You
God, I'll
should.
have to check it
You
out.
make me feel old, so I
No,
appreciate
I
that
just
too.
I haven't seen a lot of movies,
No,
so
there's an old movie like from the most people know what I'm talking about. It's a movie with Adam Sandler. You should Google it, Big Daddy.
all right, I definitely will. I'll have to
So
watch that.
look out for that trademarking though. Before you do it.
Yeah. I'll have to be careful. But yeah, I mean, on everything, I'm always like up to, shoots, posting behind the scenes, or just
So where
like
are you modeling at now? Is it mostly San Diego? Like where are you actually
San
modeling?
Diego and LA. I go up to LA. A lot of stuff that I post on my Instagram, I usually post the tests. I don't post anything like, that I've done for advertising because it's not, like fun for Instagram. But I do a lot of fun tests in LA. I think I have a pretty cool one coming up in Palm Springs. We're gonna do like some resort wear stuff next month. So that's gonna be really fun. There's this group that I work with all the time, and we put together like some really awesome projects. So I always post those on my page usually.
Nice. All right.
Yeah.
Social media, where can people find you?
You can find me on Instagram. You can find me at Julia Baker 13 if you want to see modeling stuff, and if you want to see the swag side of me, you can go to Big Daddy Jules, Julez.
Nice.
And yeah, same on TikTok. I'm Big Daddy Jules 69. So that's where you can find me at.
So we got 69, Playboy, Fetish. Oh, the ratings on this.
It's gonna peak right here. It's gonna be like, wow, she's really immature.
Model. Oh my God, the ratings on this episode.
Yeah, and then like also they're gonna be like, wow, like if anybody's watching this,
and she was in Vogue. Like, oh my God.
Yeah, and then like towards the end, I'm like right now looking at the Zoom camera. Like if anybody's watching,
oh
this,
yeah,
like, I look like the Bohemian Rhapsody.
No,
album
no, and you look like somebody from like The Visit or something. One of them.
on, so it's like just.
You look like one of the people from like The Visit, or like, did you ever see that movie? The grandparents that were just like, they weren't really grandparents.
No, were they like ghosts or something?
No, so at the plot twist, I don't want to spoil it, but
I'm gonna have to watch that one too.
They don't tell the backstory of these. They just assume you think that they're like their grandparents of these people, but at the end, then they tell you the backstory by being evil.
Ooh.
They're not really, yeah. So, we got it. We got it all on this episode. This is a good one.
We got me going from regular Julia to like demon
Kendrick
Julia.
Lamar to like The Visit to everything. And we will end right now with what inspired you to model? Like, what was the reason that you started modeling? you know, if you have one.
Um, yeah. It probably was not even models. It was probably like musicians. Like I always like loved the cool like the stuff that like Beyonce was doing and like the
Mm,
fun outfits they were wearing. Um, and I think that was like what I initially like loved about it. Like it was like so glam and like so like I would say I'm an artist. Like I'm very like I'm kind of weird. So I like fit in with weird people, and when I see like anybody that's working with creative stuff and doing like looks that are like not normal, like I'll walk around with a crazy like outfit on that you should only like that should only really be in a photo shoot because I love that stuff. So I think like just the artistic side, kind of like Brian with his ripped up jeans, like he was talking about how he used to go out and
hey,
he
fashion.
purposely
He's a fashion icon.
he
That guy.
is. He said he purposely would put duct tape on his pants, and his friends would be like, "What the fuck
I
are you wearing?"
mean,
And I'm the
trendsetter. You gotta have a
same.
trendsetter.
No, but I'm the same. I think it's like these people, like if you're truly an artist, like you're gonna make your way to the art, like no matter what it is. And like that's
Mm-hmm.
how I mean, some of my favorite friends from the industry are my friend Josh and my friend Kasha. Like they are like the weirdest, like we always have the most craziest stories. And she does special effects makeup and he's a photographer and he's just like super dope. And we just walk around and talk about the craziest stuff, and
Mm-hmm.
like they're just artists like to the core, and I
Mm-hmm.
just love like those people, and like this industry like is full of those people, and it's like
Mm-hmm.
so cool to connect with them. So
Mm-hmm.
it like drew me there and kept me there 100%.
All right, Julia, this has been awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much.
All right, and you take it easy, okay?
Thank you. You
All
too.
right. And thanks everybody for listening to the Sensibly Cynical podcast. Subscribe, rate, all that. And follow Julia Baker. Was that Julia Baker 13?
Yep.
All
Julie.
right. All right. Adios, everybody.
Adios.
Peace.